Ever had someone make you question your own memory? You're not forgetful. You're not crazy. You might be experiencing gaslighting, one of the most insidious forms of manipulation. What looks like confusion is often deliberate design. Gaslighting is psychological manipulation that makes a person doubt their perception, memory, or judgment. It isn't a misunderstanding. It's a strategy. By constantly undermining what someone knows to be true, a gaslighter makes them dependent, compliant, and easier to control. The term comes from the 1938 stage play Gaslight and its 1944 film adaptation. In the story, a husband dims the gas lights in the house, then insists to his wife that the lights aren't flickering at all. She begins to doubt her own senses, sliding into confusion and self-doubt, while he quietly manipulates events behind the scenes. Psychologists adopted gaslighting to describe real-world abuse dynamics. At first it was applied to controlling relationships, but today it's recognized across workplaces, politics, and even media. The mechanics remain the same. Deny reality, replace it with yours, and repeat until the target accepts your version of the world. Gaslighting runs on repeatable tactics that gradually erode resistance. Denial of reality. That never happened. A flat contradiction of memory. Even when the evidence is clear, the gaslighter insists otherwise. Contradiction and minimization. If denial doesn't work, the next move is to mock or belittle. You're overreacting. It wasn't a big deal. This reduces confidence in one's own emotional responses. Projection. The gaslighter flips flaws outward. They accuse the target of being paranoid, too sensitive, or even crazy. This reframes the victim's natural reaction as the problem. Repetition and isolation. Denials are repeated until they feel true. Outside perspectives are cut off. Friends, colleagues, anyone who might reinforce the real version of events. Without external anchors, the victim leans entirely on the gaslighter for reality itself. Incremental erosion. It rarely starts with dramatic contradictions. Gaslighting often begins with small dismissals, a minor denial, a casual correction, repeated until the victim no longer trusts their own judgment. By the time the bigger lies arrive, resistance is worn down. Why does this work? Because of predictable weaknesses in human psychology. Cognitive dissonance. When two realities clash, the brain seeks resolution. Faced with a confident denial versus shaky self-doubt, many people accept the gaslighter's certainty just to relieve the tension. System 1 versus System 2. Kahneman. Slow, deliberate reasoning, System 2, is exhausting to maintain. Repeated contradiction pushes the brain into fast, reactive System 1 thinking, where acceptance comes quicker than resistance. Illusory truth effect. The more a statement is repeated, the more familiar it feels. Familiarity is often mistaken for truth, even if evidence says otherwise. Authority and social proof. Cialdini. If the gaslighter pulls in others, everyone thinks this. People agree with me. The target is pressured by the weight of consensus. What begins as doubt spirals into dependency. The victim no longer trusts themselves, and in that vacuum, the gaslighter's voice becomes the only guide. And gaslighting isn't confined to personal relationships. At scale, it becomes a political tool. Leaders deny obvious facts, rewrite history, or frame dissent as insanity. Corporations do it too, insisting their product failures are user error or that harms are imagined. What began as a household term now describes a strategy used by institutions to maintain power. Defense begins with anchoring reality. Anchor your own record. Journals, screenshots, even simple notes can become lifelines. Written evidence resists revision. Seek third-party checks. Outsiders restore perspective. A trusted friend, colleague, or therapist can confirm what actually happened. Spot the pattern. One denial may be ordinary. Repeated denial, contradiction, and projection signal manipulation. Reframe the accusation. When labeled too sensitive, recognize it as projection. It's not your flaw, it's their tactic. Each defense works because it disrupts the gaslighter's cycle. Anchors preserve memory. Third parties restore context. Recognizing the pattern forces slow, deliberate thinking back online. And reframing accusations breaks the projection loop. These steps don't just resist manipulation, they rob gaslighters of their central power, control over perception. Gaslighting is powerful because it doesn't just change behavior, it reshapes reality itself. What begins as doubt can become dependency unless we learn to spot the tactics. This was Deceive and Believe. If you want more dark psychology exposed, hit like, subscribe, and stay sharp, because manipulation never sleeps.